want your blog posts to compete, but are they competing against each other or against your competitors? Most website owners have picked up on the importance of just publishing content, getting stuff up there that's important to your readers, making sure that they get the answers that they're after. But the thing is, if it is all just random and all over the place, Google doesn't understand the connections between all of those pages. They don't understand it. They're not ranking you. If they're not ranking you, your potential customers aren't seeing it. So let's have a look at how we can restructure some of your content just to make it a lot easier for visitors to understand, Google to understand, for you to get the rankings and traffic that you're after. So we're going to be looking at two sections here in particular. We're going to start with pillar pages, and it's important just to understand what a pillar page is, first of all. Pillar page is basically a comprehensive page covering the core part of a topic. From that core page, it actually links to related articles on your site that covers other particular details a little bit better than the core page. Pillar pages, more often than not, are evergreen. They're longer form, can be 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 words even. Most importantly, they target slightly higher volume keywords. But the important thing is you must not forget that they must still have the intent that you're after. By intent, I actually mean it must be a transactional or commercial. You want people to take an action, not just read for the sake of reading. Find the right type of keywords to just be targeting for that main one, first of all. Then we get to the supporting articles. Now, a couple of years ago, it was still that you could just throw a blog post, and after a while, a lot of them would rank, and with them all ranking, you would get lots of traffic. Now, these articles have actually turned into the great supporting cast that you need to really build a very, very solid bit of authority around a specific topic. You start with your core page that you've just built, and then you create supporting articles to surround that and to strengthen that topic as a whole on your site. You can look at each of these articles as basically being subtopics, and they are targeting more long tail keywords. Now, these long tail keywords all relate to the main topic, but they just discuss these subtopics in more detail. Each of these pages, in turn, link back to the core page, but they also link to each other to strengthen the whole topic overall. When Google understands this topic and all of the value that you bring as a whole, that is a massive plus. So there are three simple reasons why this approach actually matters. The first one is the obvious SEO advantage. It improves crawlability, it improves how thoroughly you are indexed, and it definitely boosts rankings. Secondly, it just improves the user experience. The user is looking for information. The core page should answer most of what they are looking for. But if they want to go into a bit more detail and they want to find out more, that's where your cluster pages will actually help. So those supporting articles will provide the information that you need to actually really uplift that core page. Lastly, it's just actually smarter strategy, because if you just go out there and you just put up pages for the sake of putting up pages, what's the use? You're going to focus on a specific topic. You're strengthening a part of your site. That part will be strengthened, and you can move on to the next topic and the next topic. And you rinse and repeat that whole process. You go through that and you rinse and repeat that process, you're going to get to a point where you are really strong in multiple topics, and multiple topics will be driving traffic to your site. There are actually a couple of very simple steps that you can just run through as a checklist, just to make sure that you've got this covered and that you are following the process to ensure that you build really, really authoritative topic clusters. So the first one is identifying your core topics. Now, don't get core topics confused with core keywords. The core topic is understanding exactly what you will be covering, not just with your core page, but with everything around it. What do you want to answer? What solution do you want to provide? What do you want to help people with? That is the topic. The second part is then just casually figuring out what would the supporting articles cover. There you just want to understand, okay, I've got the main core topic that I want to cover, but what are questions that people also ask related to my topic? So, for example, if you're covering cars, you might have pages around how to service a car, or you might have pages related to how long do the tires last on a car before I need to get them replaced. And all of those will be supplemental to the core topic, which will be cars. Okay, now that you've got the two basic ideas there of what your main page will be about and what your the rest of your supporting articles will be about, now you can get into actually creating those pages. I think it's always good to then start with the core page first. So there are a few things that you need to figure out and that you need to identify and that you need to put in there structurally when you're creating that page. So do a bit of keyword research to find one with high intent that isn't too overly competitive that you can go after. Once you figured out that keyword, along with the topic that you want to cover, put together a bit of a structure on how you will lay out that page. Start with a very descriptive opening paragraph. That first paragraph must almost answer exactly what the page is about. It should be a short little summary, giving a clear understanding of what you are covering. Then, in the sections that follow, liberally use various forms of content. So, use lists, use any types of bullet points that you can, any instructions that you can add images, add videos, add FAQs to really build out that page and make it exceptionally useful and practical for the user. Then you will build out your supporting articles. Now, we did our little bit of research a little earlier on the supporting articles, really jotting down a couple of ideas of what we want to cover with the supporting articles. It's always going to be important that you cover only that topic in that specific supporting article. Don't go too broad. Be very specific about what you cover in that article. Go into depth in each of the supporting articles about the content as it relates to the core topic. Once those have been created, you are ready to do the internal linking. Now, don't just go for exact matches when you try and link pages together. So if you've got the page around cars and you've got the one around service intervals, you can link the cars one to the service intervals page with a keyword or keywords or a phrase that relates to it. It doesn't need to be the exact keywords. It can just roughly resemble that. Because Google understands what the context would be when you link to it. Then when you link between the articles, under the service intervals, you will then make sure that you also touch on how often the tires need to be replaced. So there's an obvious link between the two. So you can then link to when the tires need to be changed. If you do those links between the respective blog posts, you create a very solid network that Google can easily understand. They will then not miss the context. They will then not miss an understanding of what that section of your site is about. You will build up that topical relevance and authority, which is exceptionally important. Publishing pillar pages and supporting articles is not about creating more content. It's about creating content smarter. As simple as that. That is how you build authority. That's how you build rankings. That is how you improve your website. This is actually the simplest content system that works, and it will keep on working because it adheres to the fundamentals which are so important to Google and to the LLMs actually, by the way. I hope you actually enjoyed that. I hope it was useful in helping you on your quest to improve your websites, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.